All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we got UFC veteran, we got Smiling Sam Alvey right here, live, worldwide, right here on YouTube. I gotta say, man, first and foremost, I've been a fan of your fighting for years, man, so just thank you for giving us a bit of your time this evening.
Oh, it is mine you put together. That was a thing of beauty. I loved it.
I gotta say, man, it's what I do, man. But I know you're a very busy guy, Sam. So I'm gonna dive right into this interview, man. But I gotta say, first and foremost, man, taking you back to 2007 when you actually started your amateur fight career, what actually made you decide to get into mixed martial arts initially?
Really, it was some guy asked me, "Hey, you want to fight?" And I said, "Yeah, okay." And then I ended up in a cage like later that day. That was really it. I never trained. I never watched it. I never knew anything about it. I just thought I was tough. I found out in my first fight I wasn't that tough, and I was hooked.
I gotta say, man, that's definitely a different way to start a career. But you know what? You definitely had an itch, man, and you know what I mean? You're definitely getting it scratched multiple times. You know what I mean? It's definitely cool.
Yeah, man, I'm over 70 fights at this point. Yeah, that itch is getting scratched well.
Because I remember actually when I first discovered you, it was in Bellator back in the day, man, on Spike TV.
Okay,
those were the good old days, man.
Yeah, it was back when Bjorn Rebney owned it. It was that he got in the $100,000 tournament. I had to fight. Man, they did not want me in that tournament. It was Bjorn put me in just because he had no choice. But no, they didn't want me in Bellator. But I made him keep me for a little bit.
But also, man, in 2011, you were actually on a 3-fight winning streak that ultimately landed you a contract, obviously, like we just mentioned with Bellator. I was wondering, how did you initially get connected with that amazing promotion? And of course, what was it like actually just debuting against Carl at Bellator 45?
Yeah, so I had a manager at the time, Nick Thompson, Nick the Goat Thompson. He was top 10 UFC at one point or another. And he told me, he said, if you win 3 in a row, Bellator says they'll take you. So I won 3 in a row, and I won the last one by the skin on my teeth. I mean, it was close, that last one. It was against Jason Guida, Clay Guida's brother. And to this day, I think I lost that fight. But I got a hometown decision, so I'll take it.
It works.
Yeah. And in my defense, he missed weight by 25 pounds. So I took it anyways, and it was almost, I almost shouldn't have. Yeah, it got me into Bellator. I was supposed to be directly into the tournament. But like I said, Bjorn didn't want me in it. So he said, all right, you got to fight Carl Amasu first. So I fought him and I won. He said, okay, well, who do you want to fight first? And I said, I want to fight Shevchenko first. So they put me as far from Shevchenko as I could get. They put us on opposite ends, and I got Vitor Vienna. And even then, I felt I won that fight. I've watched it a dozen times, and I still think I won. It was a decent fight, but they gave it to him, and as soon as I lost, they cut me immediately. But it was nothing but love. I loved the organization. Wasn't crazy about the direction that Bjorn was taking it at the time, but under Scott Coker, it is second to, none. It is just an amazing promotion.
And if you don't be asking, why didn't they initially want you there, man? Because you're an amazing fighter. You got the charisma. You know what I mean. You're the entire package. You know what I mean. So it's kind of, in my opinion, it's why didn't they want you there?
You know, my what I thought at the time, and I still think it for the time, Bellator was trying to compete in the UFC circuit kind of thing, and the way they were doing it is they were getting overseas talent. And me, I was a middle American white guy. I brought no ethnicity, no accent, no nothing to the table. But every bracket of that tournament was stacked with Brazilians, Russians, Polish guys, English guys. They scoured the globe finding people to put into the tournament. And then there was just, pale, chubby Sam in there. And they didn't. I don't think I was the guy that they wanted in the tournament. But if you win, they gotta use you.
That's true, man. You know what I mean? You can't overturn that decision.
Yeah. And I love doing it. I love tournament style stuff. I love the PFL right now because I love being able to watch a guy month to month. So I was really a fan of Bellator. I'm still a huge fan of Bellator.
And the one thing as well, because like I remember as well watching you on The Ultimate Fighter back in the day. I believe it was like season 16, but on September of 2012, you were actually selected to be a part of Ultimate Fighter, man. I was wondering, what was that experience like? And of course, can you just tell us one of your most memorable moments you actually shared behind the scenes, man? Because of course, not a lot of it is filmed from what I get from it.
Yeah, it was a 6 week thing. Like everyone knows, you're in the house for about 6.5 weeks, and you're not given books or TV or radio or anything. So you're around the same 16 guys for 6.5 weeks, and it gets kind of tedious. It gets a little boring in there because you're trying to entertain yourself. But if you ever been around a bunch of fighters, they like talking about fighting, and after about a week of just talking about fighting, you're kind of sick about talking about fighting. But we still, I made some good friends in there. Neil Magny and I still keep in contact as much as we can. The coach Trevor Whitman and I, we still keep in contact. I got to fight my coach Nate Marquardt, and one of the most memorable parts of it is Pat Barry. I've known Pat for a minute, even before we were in the Wisconsin circuit for a while. And so we were aware of each other, but on the show, we got to spend some time together. And I just love Pat. He is one of my favorite human beings on the planet. And he helped me cut weight. It was a big weight cut for me. I was going back down to 170, and he sat in the sauna with me. He was drinking water. He's as comfortable as he could be. But, I mean, he never stopped talking. I sat in that sauna for as long as I needed to sit in that sauna, and he didn't, I don't know that he took a breath. He just talked, and it was so fun. Sometimes I hate it when guys do that, but everything he said made me want to hear the next word. It was about as hard a weight cut as it could have been. He made it as painless as possible.
And I got to ask as well, when you actually did that weight cut, because the one thing I was always wondering when it comes to UFC fighters, because sometimes you got to do a weight cut like so soon, you have a deadline to make it. Like, what was your process that he actually made you do to actually get down to a lower weight class for Ultimate Fighter?
Well, I that was when I cut. It was 40 pounds in 29 days. Because they called me. I had tried out for 70 once before. I'd always been an 85er or 205er. I tried out for 70 because they kept cutting my weight classes. And they said, you know what? We're cutting 70 this time. I said, okay, fine, whatever. So then they called me on like the next season. Hey, Sam, can you still make 70? And I said, yeah, okay. And so I just immediately started. I did it all the wrong way. I didn't know half about nutrition that I do now. So it's just a lot of prunes and not eating. But I made weight the first time by myself, and it was rough. It was as close to passing out as I've ever come. Made weight, won my fight to get in the house, and then overnight I put on about 35 pounds from that first weight cut. Overnight put on about 35 pounds. 6 or 7 days later, I had to lose it all again. So I was immediately, and that's where my mistake came on the show. Is I just I wasn't replenished after that first cut. I should have taken a little more time. I shouldn't have fought so soon. Yeah, it was a process. But Pat Barry and they're just talking my ear off was the way to go.
And one last question I have about Ultimate Fighter. When you said moments ago that they don't give you books, magazines, anything, like other than talking with everybody, like what else is there to actually do in that house? Like
they give us a lot of liquor. Yeah, they keep us as drunk as possible. It's a TV show first. I mean, talent comes and fighting's great, but it's a TV show first. They want people screaming, "Let me bang, bro!" That's what they do. They just keep. I mean, there was liquor in every room of that house. You look under your pillow, and there's a box of beer. And so that was there. A lot of people took advantage of that.
Hey, man. Honestly, when you have nothing else to do, you might as well drink, get drunk, fall asleep.
Yep.
But also as well, a year later on October 4th, 2013, you actually defeated Jason Self to actually become middleweight champion at MFC 38 behind enemy lines. I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about that phenomenal, monumental fight. And of course, what was it like having that amazing belt like around your waist?
Yeah, the MFC was the second oldest MMA organization in the world. UFC was number one. MFC was like the next week. And so Mark Pavlich is the owner and runner and manager of everything. And it was he ran that show so professionally. And when I got to fight for that belt, it was just a thing of beauty. Yeah, getting my hand raised, and it was a tough fight. It was a long road to get there because I had lost the Ultimate Fighter. I lost my first fight off of the Ultimate Fighter, and then I got some wins built back up. When I won that belt, it was kind of the proof that, all right, I can do this. I can make a living fighting.
And if I'm not mistaken as well, I believe back in the day, you actually relinquished that title because you were going back to UFC.
Actually, I never really relinquished it. I fought on their last card. The last card the MFC ever had, I fought and beat, I don't remember the guy's name, Jason South, and then I fought someone else after him. And that was the last MFC card. So I retired the organization as their champion.
I gotta say, man, that's history right there. Like, what actually made that company actually just go out of business? Like, was it just the UFC, the popularity with that?
No, Mark Pavlich, he is as go-getter a man as there has ever been. He kind of dominated the sporting industry. He was the biggest show outside of the UFC, and he kind of said, you know what, I'm going to go and do some other stuff. And now he's got a marketing management firm that is just taking over the world. He's got a podcast himself. He's just since his MFC days, he's been doing anything and everything else, and he's been so successful at all of it.
He sounds like the Master P of sports of the sports industry by the sounds of it.
Yeah, he really is. He was such a good man, and he ran such a reputable business. I loved working for him.
And also as well, aside from actually you being in the octagon fighting, you also do amateur team coaching as well that I noticed on your Instagram. I was wondering what actually made you decide to get into the coaching side of mixed martial arts.
Literally, I've been a coach since day one of MMA. My first 4 years of training, I was the head coach. I just made it up as I went. Eventually, I came out to California to learn from somebody else because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just making it up. And as soon as I got here, I started taking responsibilities whenever I could. And now I'm one of the head coaches of the pro team, and I'm the head coach of the amateurs. So I've spent a lot of my entire career coaching.
I gotta say that's pretty cool. But people that are in your area, and obviously because it's amateur, so probably the younger adults, probably young kids. How do parents or of course either young adults that are over the age of 18 actually go about joining your amateur coaching program?
Well, the amateurs are all adults, so there's no kids in that one, and we have tryouts probably about twice a year here at Team Quest, at Dan Henderson's Team Quest. And we have tryouts, and we pick our team off that, and then we work with them for a year or two until they turn pro, and then we help develop them into their pro career as well. I run the kids MMA program at least here as well, and for that you just show up at the gym and you can get into any of the kids classes.
And also as well, going back to UFC here for a moment, one of your most well-known accomplishments in the UFC is actually most fights in a period of 12 months with 6 fights. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about that year. And of course, was there actually a time where you sat back and was like, oh my God, another fight? Like, I need a break.
No, that thought has never come to my head. Actually, 6 fights in 1 year, it's good for the UFC. It is nothing compared to most of my career. Most of my career outside of the UFC, I'm fighting, constantly. I think the most I've ever done in 1 year was 13 fights in a year. And it was just back to back. I love fighting. And as long as I'm injured, why not get paid for my training? Yeah, the 6 fights in 1 year. I am disappointed, though. I don't think I have the record anymore. I think, what's his name? The other guy in the UFC who talks a lot, too much.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Not Strickland, but the other one. I believe he got to 7 in a year, which is very disappointing for me. But you know what? I held the record for quite a while, and if I ever get the opportunity to set the record again, I'm going to take it.
And also as well, your next fight is actually coming up next Saturday, August 28th at UFC Fight Night. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about your up-and-coming fight, and of course, what can they expect when Smiling Sam Alvey walks in that octagon next Saturday?
Yeah, I'm going to kill this guy. I'm going out there. He seems like a good guy. I'm sure he's got a great family, and I'm going to ruin him. I've had so many bad decisions in my recent career, and I have not shown up like I should have. And I am tired of going to the judges. I am tired of not winning. And so it's time for me to correct my course and win this fight and win it dominantly.
And also as well, man, if your opponent, Wellington Turman, is actually happens to watch this interview and sees this right here, what is something you want to address or even warn him or even say to your opponent before your fight on the 28th?
You know, I really just want to thank him for taking the fight. I was supposed to fight on the 31st of July. And the week of my fight against Roman Kopylov, his visa got declined or something. So the week of the fight, it got canceled, and the UFC tried to find someone, and they found Wellington. And Wellington stepped up, and he took a fight on 3 or 4 weeks' notice, and I'm really appreciative of him. I really am. I wouldn't have a fight without him, and people forget it takes two to tango, and he stepped up, and I'm going to be super proud to share the cage with him.
And I got to say as well, I heard about that news as well with the visa got declined. I was sitting back. I'm like, oh, damn, man. I want to see Alvey exchange hands, man. So I'm glad you found another opponent as well, man, because down here in Canada, we actually have UFC Fight Night actually on TSM, which I have right here on the banner for the Canadian viewers.
Did you know say what I mean? Down here in Canada?
Yeah, man.
Aren't you as up as they get?
Probably, actually, pretty well north, yeah. But yeah, we're actually down here in Prescott, Canada, man. So we watch our UFC on TSN. So I'm looking forward to you kicking his ass like next Saturday, man, on TSN.
That is the plan. We're gonna have a hell of a fight. I'm gonna win another bonus, and I'm gonna go home a winner.
But also as well, man, I gotta ask, what is next for yourself, Smiling Sam, in UFC and MMA itself, man? Because I know, you're still in your prime, man. You got a shit ton of fights still in you, man, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. But what's next for you?
I just want to fight. I want to fight. I get this one out of the way, then I'm going to fight again, then I'm going to fight again, then I'm going to fight again, and I'm going to just win. I've been on a skid, and the skid is my fault. It's also the judge's fault, and a little bit of Mark Goddard's fault. That son of a gun. But it's time to take it out of the hands of the referees and the judges, and it's time for me to get on this win streak and start making some more fans, a bigger name for myself.
And I got to say as well, I noticed as well, you actually have a cameo going on. You also have your own merchandise as well. I was wondering, where can our listeners actually get some of your merchandise? Because I was checking some of it out, man. I love that mask you got going on, man, with the big smile on it, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's easy. It's smilingsam.com. And you'll find all of my stuff. I got shirts and masks and hoodies and hats. I got a lot of good stuff there.
But also, before we part ways there, Sam, I was wondering, this is the time of the interview, man, that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airwaves. Just a chance to give, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. But most of all, man, your social media handles. So that way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything Smiling Sam Alvey if they're not already doing so.
Yeah, so the one I'm pushing big this time, because I absolutely love it, is TikTok. I love TikTok. I have so much fun on there. I give them all the behind the scenes of the UFC. I talk to the fans more there than anywhere else. So if you can find me on TikTok, you can it's at Smilin, SMILEN, Sam, Smiling Sam, or probably if you just search Sam Alvey, I'll turn up too. But yeah, I love TikTok. I love my social media. I love the fans of this sport, and anything I can do to make your experience with MMA more enjoyable, I'm going to do it.
And I got to say as well, I was kind of anti-TikTok for a while there, man, but I actually tried it, and I got to say it's actually pretty addictive, man. I sometimes can't put my phone down.
Yeah, and I'm giving the Chinese all of my information. They've got my face and my voice, and they make a Sam Alvey robot over there. Guaranteed. But I don't care. You shoot TikTok right into my veins. I am set with it.
Give her a good old IV drip and just let it slowly drip in, man.
Oh, yeah.
But I got to say, Sam, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for just taking the time out of your busy schedule, man, and just sliding into my airwaves this evening. It definitely was an honor to welcome a fighter that I grew up watching, man, that I'm looking forward to continue watching for the rest of your career, man. But this Saturday, good luck on your fight. I know you're not going to need it, but most definitely, man, knock him out and take home the W, man. And then you're literally a couple more wins away from reclaiming that record.
Yes, I'm going to take it, and it's going to be a good couple fights for me.
Most definitely, Sam. Thank you so much, man, and definitely have yourself a wonderful night out there.
Hey, have a great night, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.